mean, I can see
I
both
got the
versions
opportunity
now.
to sit down and ask some questions about combat, build crafting, and even a bit of progression to the game's combat director, Kevin Yanis. I tried to ask questions that gives us a bit of a clearer picture of what to expect, provide some clarification on concerns, and even some spicy details that haven't been mentioned yet. Starting with a more basic question, I wanted to ask what was the intent behind runner shells? The answer that I was given was the intent behind runner shells was to marry abilities, passives, and stats to a distinct visual language you can read at 50 to 60
Yo,
meters
what is
out.
up with Twitch?
So that when
though,
you
my
see a
guy?
player, you know what they're capable of, and you can start to think about how to engage them. I really appreciate the focus on readability, especially in a PvP focused game where you lose things on death. Understanding at least the general framework of what a player is capable of allows you to plan and understand what happens in an engagement more. I think that there's not much of a worse feeling in a PvP game than not understanding what the heck happened or how you died. I think a valid concern, though, is how the playstyles represented by runner shells resonate with different kinds of players, and that's exactly what I asked. Kevin said we designed each of our runner shells as archetypes so players could find a home for their playstyle. What this meant was creating clearly defined roles by solving problems in the survival game. For example, Recon's the information shell that you'll need to make sure you're not going to get jumped by another crew. Conversely, there's Assassin for those who are about hiding themselves from opposing threats. Triage is about staying in the fight and almost bolstering your meta economy. As you can see, each shell has a very clearly defined role that we hope players will attach to. For launch, we're really painting with broad strokes, but as the game develops throughout the seasons, you'll see us add new runners to support more playstyles and take new approaches to existing roles. I really like their approach to creating roles by solving.
I think that's huge, right? Like, I ain't gonna lie, I kind of like. I guess I thought about it in the back of my head that they were gonna add more shells as time goes on, but like, I don't know why. Like, they had never really talked about it till now. You know?
About adding more shells.
As time goes on, like more runners, more characters.
Are you talking about Marathon?
I'm just worried that it's gonna get bloated.
I think they actually mentioned that in this. In a little bit.
We just played Overwatch to check out like.
I
What
did.
brought everybody back.
I saw you guys playing Overwatch, and I was like, "Why the fuck are those guys playing Overwatch?"
Pumpo.
What's the verdict?
So someone whispered it, and Pumpo just appeared out of the ether.
Oh yeah, I thought you were gonna spawn last night. I realized I looked at the camera and said 3 times, Mars solved jiggle physics, and you did not show up much.
But it got my attention. I just wasn't,
I need to say
available
it. I need to say it a fourth time. I need to say it a fourth time. Got it.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right.
Solving problems that arise in the game.
Yeah, I was worried about kind of bloat because we loaded that bitch up, and dude, they like doubled the roster from when I played, and the last time I played was like.
Have you been on
already added quite a few?
Right. Have you been on Rivals recently? Like same thing. I guess it depends on how they do it.
Rivals, we knew that shit was gonna happen.
Right, because there's massive universe, but
yeah,
I don't know.
We already knew that they were gonna try to get all the characters they possibly could. But
well, here's the other thing. What's the verdict? Well, on Overwatch.
Sir, well, I mean, I'm asking Rick because he's been on it most recently in this call.
Yeah. I figured.
What was the question?
What's the verdict?
I mean, I like some of the new characters. They definitely had to switch up what they did. It's no longer just tank, DPS, and heals within each role. They have like specialties. Like, did you play before?
Yeah, no, I played. I put a decent amount of time in.
You know how there were like different types of tanks and different types of healers, like pure healer versus.
You had like damage absorbers, damage dealers, stuff like that.
Yeah, but like even like tanks, like you had shield tanks.
Yeah,
but then you also had like berserker style tanks.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So they actually formalized that and gave them each like for a perk, for lack of a better term, but it's like an archetype. It applies to all of it, if that makes sense. and I guess it like more formalizes the role. I definitely did like having the role queue back, where you have to sign up and you're locked to what you signed up to play.
Yeah. Honestly, I think that's the best thing to happen in those kinds of shooters.
Yeah, they
like,
gotta bring that shit over to Rivals too.
Fuck, I missed a putt.
I wonder if with back to Marathon. I wonder if like with the shells to avoid the inflation of the shells, they would put some away because like they're not taking anything. They're already wiping us every 3 months or yeah, 3 months. You know. So like what you had on triage is gone. You just got like the basic triage shell, and they put him away, and they give you like a different type of healer. I don't know. I guess we'll see how they handle it.
I'd like to see if they make archetypes though. You would probably have to keep in like one of each archetype, I guess.
That's what I'm saying. I guess they're like I feel like they'd go. I feel like they'd add more archetypes and then possibly do what I'm saying. Right. I guess we'll see. I mean, only time will tell. So,
are the adjustments and mods you pick up and collect, are those going to be applicable to all the shells?
I don't want to answer that yet because I think that comes up in here.
Gotcha.
But also, what do you mean? Because no, like.
I don't want to answer that.
Sorry. So, like, I was just like regurgitating your not regurgitating, but like, I actually thought about what you just said. You mean like if I'm on Void and I pick up a shell for tank, can I use that shit? If I'm on Void and I pick up a core for the tank, can I use that core on Void? The answer is no. The cores are for the shells.
So
you can pick it up. You can pick it up.
I don't know what Void is. I'm assuming.
Okay, Void is Void is the. No, Void is the Invis Hunter. Void is Invis guy. Tank.
That's a name.
His name's Assassin now. He was Void during the test.
Okay.
Oh, didn't break.
The cores. Okay, if you don't know what cores are, then I want to pull ahead. But what you're asking is like the upgrades for the characters, right? That's what you were asking about. They're not universal. Like the tank can't.
Whatever it is.
For guns, yes. For characters, no. The tank cannot take the same upgrade as the Invis Hunter. They can hold on to it, like they can find it in the world, but they can't
extract with it, and then your account earns it.
Right. Yes.
Because you're just the ghost in the shell.
Right. Correct.
See what I did there?
I did see what you did there. All right, but the cores come up, and there. I think that's the part. Like, if there's anything you like, it would be that. If I'm being honest. So, I'm gonna play it. The cores. It's what the build crafting part is.
I think that leads to a lot of the runner shells feeling all valuable and all like really natural frameworks.
I can't hear that.
Kind of find a home in. It also excites me for what they said at the bottom there.
What'd you say?
Look, when it comes to my hair, I don't have a lot of time for.
Oh, it's Lisa. Look, man.
Color Sensation Root Touch-Up, 100% gray coverage, baby. Stay tuned for some insane girl math with me, Lisa Rinna.
Because weapons going beyond their borders to support more playstyles, general framework that's a home in. It also excites me.
What did you say? You can't hear it or no? Do you need me to turn it up?
I just turned it on. I have W now.
Oh.
But I can hear the video.
Just mute me on Twitch. Just mute me on Twitch.
You got two viewers, and they're both Rick.
No, that's not true. I got Nate because I pay attention to my chat. That is Lisa effing Raina. Nate, you're goddamn right. That's right. He's a trader simp too. Yeah, buddy. It is Rick. Rick is here. And Rick's watching a marathon video, possibly against his will, but it's happening.
I do not consent.
Is in the game. I think that leads to a lot of the runner shells feeling all valuable and all like really natural frameworks to kind of find a home in. It also excites me for what they said at the bottom there, that they really focus on painting with broad strokes. Again, kind of just broad frameworks and archetypes for people to have a starting point and have that general framework that's readable in combat. And as a result of those broad strokes, those archetypes, it feels like something that, as a player, you can build on, which is how you kind of start honing into your own playstyle. Even more exciting, though, is that they're going to be adding new runners to support more playstyles. That's going to be really interesting. I wonder what kind of playstyles are going to arise and they're going to add, maybe again as a result of problems that they even more layers.
What?
And there's some consistency there that'll allow you to game.
Sorry, I was trying to mute. Why is that skipping like that? That's annoying.
Even more layers, and there's some consistency there, atoms. So back and make yourself go flying. Play, and of course the cores themselves help you really push the shell, no pun intended. I like the call. Also said they're going to take newer partners to support more playstyles and have that general framework.
Nate, no, I will not be doing carries tonight. I haven't even gone flawless myself. I didn't give myself a lot of time last night to play
you can build on, which is
personally,
how you kind of start honing into your own playstyle. Even more exciting though is that they're going to be adding new runners to support more playstyles. That's going to be really interesting. I wonder what kind of playstyles are going to arise and they're going to add, maybe again as a result of problems that they can solve in the game. That's pretty exciting. And they also said they're going to take new approaches to things that cover existing roles. So they mentioned recon being the information shell. Maybe there'll be a different stab at another information-esque role. Speaking of building on top of an archetype, I asked, how do build components, cores, implants, weapons, and their mods allow players to create and refine their own playstyle identity? Answer I got was, build components help push the core role of your runner shell even further. Cores could reinforce your playstyle identity or give you utility, while implants refine your stat packages and grant passives that allow you to flex a bit outside your role. Weapons and their mods define...
You paying attention to this part, Rick? This is the part that I was talking about.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Define how you engage in combat and can augment your role even further. Weapons should feel modular, with different builds for different playstyles. For example, you can build into a weapon's strength or mitigate its weaknesses. The chips, mods, are meant to provide meaningful gameplay enhancements, but could also complement or speak to other build components. This really paints a picture of how you build your personal layer on top of the framework or the shell, no pun intended. I like the call out that they said you can either kind of push that core role of your shell even further or even flex a little bit outside your role. It seems like on top of your core archetype, you're going to have implants which alter your stat shape in the way that, depending on the implants you use, you would like, and that give passives that allow you to almost have additional layers again to think about in how you're going to play. And of course, the cores themselves help you really push that playstyle identity that you're going for. Like what I'm really hoping for,
Nate,
and I think so. Based on a few of the cores that we saw in the outfit, it almost seems like you really have different routes in which you can take a shell that drastically change the way it's going to play. And obviously there's a bunch of combinations. Immediately what I think of in my mind is in one of the Vidocs they showed off a core called Blast Off, and that's for Vandal. It says knockback no longer deals self-damage, instead propelling you away from the blast. That's really interesting. That implies that you can like go up to walls and use the arm cannon, the knockback, and make yourself go flying, which is really neat. That is a very transformative thing in how you would use that knockback cannon. It's
wait till you see the next part.
At enemies,
thank you.
And more so like as a movement tool to be aggressive or evasive. And they also showed something called graceful landings. Granted, this was a gold implant, but after a long...
something I want to add, because when I watched this earlier, it was like Frost reading it, and he was confused along with some chat. There is significant cooldown times on all the abilities, so it's not ability spam, right? However, there are still upgrades that you can get for your character to make your abilities spam, like, you becomes closer to ability spam, you know what I mean? There's separate cores that do that as well. They don't really go into it in this video, but that is a thing. Just want to say.
Do they adjust the cooldown? Do they give other charges for it, or both?
I think it's I don't think it's extra charges. I think it adjusts the cooldown. And I also think because like each of your abilities will generate some amount of heat, I think it does less heat as well, like heat exhaustion.
Every weapon's gonna be a laser gun.
Every what? Every weapon? Yeah, I mean the weapons are.
Every weapon's gonna be a laser gun.
The weapons are lasers. I mean, I can tell you right now, if you in the video that he's showing, if you get that shotgun, you need to use it. There's a sniper rifle too that's really really good. The AR is kind of mid. I'm not gonna lie to you.
The nearest pulse rifle.
I mean, look at the one he has. I mean, dude, like it's a pulse rifle with 63 shots. Like,
it looks like the battle rifle. I'm assuming it's gonna be weak. It's got that kind of
ammo. It's not weak. The Mida, like the Mida, the Mida that they have in here is a 3-tap.
Nice.
At like purple shield. So if anyone's less than that, it's probably like a 2 or a 1. So. Alright, I'm going to play it again.
On fall, you deal damage in a lower radius based on the gameplay that we saw. Immediately, I'm already thinking, just based on 2 components alone, the kind of plays you can make based on that. Imagine being in a fight and being able to fling yourself like a rocket jump at an enemy, and then when you land, you deal a bit of damage. You're quite literally lethal with your movement. Again, that's just 2 components, a blue and a gold, granted, but that's already a pretty transformative dynamic to your gameplay or playstyle. I'm really interested to see what the extent of this will be or what that'll look like, because weapons going beyond their own build but also potentially speaking to other components is a really interesting additional layer of depth to your playstyle and the whole build crafting ecosystem. With a lot of the reveals around mod components, I felt like I noticed that they're actually pretty simple effects, and I wanted to ask about that. So I said some build components shown so far have seemingly simple effects. How do build components interact together to create more complex builds? The answer that Kevin gave was that we intentionally built simpler effects in this game because we knew you were going to have to make second-to-second decisions in the middle of a run about what build components to put on and what build components to swap out. However, we thought a lot about the combinatorics of each of those atoms. So, although they have simpler effects, they can cascade into one another or combine with one another to create potent effects. This philosophy is great because I think it ties back into what they said earlier about readability.
I was gonna say, what's about to happen is nasty.
Understand these effects very quickly and very simply so you can engage in build crafting. Forget even just in a run, which is so important, but to really start creating something, a style in which you want to play and thinking about those combos, you have to be able to understand the abilities very easily and then create something more complex out of them. And I think this is great from a balance standpoint too. It avoids one component doing way too much or a whole build just being too egregious, and instead a build gets to kind of be greater than the sum of its parts. Power level and power creep is important though, so I asked, what's the power level of gold items and how transformative are they to gameplay? Kevin said gold items, aka prestige items, are our most powerful build crafting items in the game. When you find a gold item, it should feel like cheating. It should feel so powerful that you almost get the giggles from using it. We really tried to push the definition of what part of the sandbox the gold item is augmenting. What that means is when you find a gold core, you're really pushing the power bar for your runner shell. When you find a gold weapon mod, you're gonna experience the apex version of that weapon, and its behavior might shift your approach to it. Gold implants provide you with their own unique, powerful passives that almost feel like abilities in addition to their random passive. Golds definitely seem like they are meant to feel powerful. They are meant to...
Dare I say they're making gold be exotic? Bring the exotic back to exotic?
It's gonna feel like that.
Mm-hmm.
But we saw what happened to exotic, so hold my breath.
Yep.
To feel special, and as they should. I think of the gold core they showed off, minus sights for the assassin shell, going invis after aiming down sights for a short period of time at the cost of heat consumption. That's pretty powerful. That is pretty gameplay changing,
that's just
powerful,
and
special. So I think that really encompasses kind of. That's pretty powerful.
This is the meter.
Changing, powerful, and special. So I think that really encompasses kind of what they said about that. But what I'm interested in more is that the behavior shift or the behavior of a gold weapon mod might shift your approach to it. I think of the pistol mod going invis after a kill, that doesn't quite change the weapon itself, but it changes how you might think about using it. Gold implants, this is really interesting because I don't think this has been spoken about at all. They give you their own powerful passive on top of a randomly rolled passive like other implants. So you're essentially working with even more layers, and there's some consistency there for you in terms of build crafting. Of course, the immediate place where my brain goes to is what happens when you use a bunch of gold. So I ask, given that you can use multiple gold items together, how powerful can that become? Is that a concern? Kevin said when you combine each of these gold items, you're really pushing the power bar of your runner shell. This power bar increase is offset by the mechanic of loss. Dying means losing all your gear, and given that gold items are hard to acquire, there's a limited inventory that you can mess around with. While you gain all this power, you're constantly risking it every time you bring it in. You really must weigh whether you're comfortable with the cost of that loss, and we think that's a powerful mechanism to balance potent items like this. In Marathon, we don't just have to nerf the atom. We can change its acquisition, we can change its cost. That's an interesting way of looking at it, because I almost feel like the power bar is super duper high, but you have to ask yourself, are you okay with losing all that? Like, you have to think, would you rather go in with a super juiced all gold build that you could lose in an instant, or spread it out across a few builds, or a couple builds to have some pretty strong builds, just in case you always have a backup, in case something goes wrong? I think it could go either way for some folks. But the point is that it's an interesting decision-making process, and it's interesting that you can allow almost that high of a power bar simply because it's impermanent. I wanted to ask a little bit more about weapons, so I asked, how strongly do weapon builds or customization alter their performance or feel? They said, we intentionally created a pretty big gap between the gray version of a weapon and the purple version. The goal there was that when you modify your weapon, you can feel it too. The change. Some weapons just at baseline are going to operate and perform better than other guns, but those weapons have limited access and their mod space is more condensed. What that means,
running with base mods versus all golds or something. Like, is that insurmountable? Like, if somebody's running all gold and you're a basic bitch just started yesterday, like, you're cooked. Well not even...
You're cooked. You're gonna be cooked.
So the entry bar for even starting this game is ridiculously high, because the sweats are already gonna have all the shit after 48 hours.
Not necessarily, because that's where also Rook will come into play. Because Rook sends you into a match that is basically done, and you can go scavenge all the dead bodies. Like, they can't. There's only so much you can carry. That's where Rook will come into play, for one, and two. There's another part we'll get to. He'll get to in a second.
What is Rook?
Is a less.
Really?
Yes.
Have you had your head in the sand? Rook is the robot. It's the sixth shell. Actually, it might be seven.
I've heard you talk about it, but I thought it was a character. So what do you mean that's where Rook's gonna come in? It puts you into an already done match. Like, is it
Rook? It's the scavenger shell. You don't equip anything to Rook. He goes in there with a pre-built loadout, and it puts you into a match that is in progress, and he is the scavenger shell. That's what Peanut kept seeing, like the solo guy that was like trying to show Peanut how to open the vault. That was a Rook. In fact, you're about to see a Rook right here in the corner. It's just like a scavenger shell. So you go in there, you don't lose anything. You can only gain stuff. The only thing you can lose is like some time.
Playing on safe mode.
Correct.
As a player.
It's how you get shit when you don't really have shit you want to lose. It's how you can get better shit if you don't want to bet your shit. You know what I mean?
If you don't have shit, period.
If you don't have shit, okay. If you don't have shit, period. Correct. It's how you get that shit done.
Okay.
Its super is it can blend in with the UESE, so like they don't fuck with him because he looks like a robot. He looks like the USC you know. He looks like the ads.
He's a clanker.
He is a clanker. That is correct. Technically, they're all clankers, but yeah. It's the scavenger shell. That's what you do. You go in there, it puts you in like a match that's basically done, and you just loot the bodies and you extract.
Sounds good. Where I'll live.
I mean, a lot of people are gonna live there. I'll be living there. I'm sure I will be living there a couple times.
Rare gun,
but there's a rook right over here somewhere.
Some of the rarer weapons, but require more mods to do so. Whereas some of these rarer guns don't need as many mods to perform at high level, so that when you get a rare gun, you really covet it. Furthermore, I asked about how does weapon customization fit in with runner shell builds. Weapons largely define the second-to-second combat loop, so when you pick your runner shell, you probably already have an idea of what combat role you want to occupy. You think about what role you want to play. Do I want to hang back and snipe? Do I want to be a backline infiltrator? Do I want to be aggressive and get in? That will then inform...
I don't know if you can see in the back, he actually gave this rook a shell. Or he gave this rook a gun. He gave him a purple gun. Like, I don't know, rooks are... That's what rooks are. I am rook.
Just handed it to him?
Mm-hmm. Just like that, yeah.
Okay.
Like a don't shoot. But he handed him a gun. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. I know for a fact that there's a big movement in the...
How to cross phrase it?
We're shooting rooks.
Players are frustrated. They want blood.
Yeah, they're going to shoot... There's a lot of people that are going to shoot rooks on sight. I might be one of them. But that's mainly because I'm just going to be pledged to Arachne. But that's a different topic.
You about the weapons you take. If I'm going to be aggressive, I want shotguns. If I'm going to hang back, I want rifles. Your weapon choice and your runner shell choice are synergistic.
I do think shotguns are going to be very meta. Like shotgun sniper are going to be top meta, top tier. The shotguns are crazy from the playtest footage I've seen.
Is there any mana trade-off for the ammo for the snipers?
That I don't know off the top of my head, but I don't believe all the snipers take the same type of ammo. I think it's weapon to weapon based on their archetype.
So, like, caliber.
Right, because they have, like, charge rifles, too. So, there's that. There's, like, 4 or 5 different types of ammo in the game. So, and I don't think every archetype takes the same one. So, like, there's like a shotgun that takes, like, the light rounds because it's, like, supposed to be more of, like, a spread shot, and then, like, the slug takes, like, the heavy caliber round. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
You generally don't want to play as a runner shell that doesn't match your combat role. However, there's room for players to flex out of their role and do something truly unique. Maybe you found a crazy build that only works when you make a bunch of competing choices. We're eager to see how the community plays with all these atoms. I feel like this all really just shows the amount of depth there is in each piece of a holistic, complete build, and what you can do with that. I love the call out of maybe making a crazy build to flex out of your role by making a bunch of competing choices. I think the elephant in the room, though, for a lot of people with build crafting is what happens when you lose it? What happens when you find that build you really love and then you lose it? How can you focus on build crafting, or how can you really master a build if, you know, you're still feeling it out, you're still getting used to it, and then you lose it? So I asked, how accessible are build components after I lose them? How possible is it to recreate a build or playstyle I resonate with and want to master? The answer I was given was some build components will be acquirable in a few runs after a loss, whereas higher rarity ones will take more time. Each faction has upgrades that you'll unlock deterministic access to some of these build components, so as you play, you're kind of raising the floor of where you'll restart after a failed run. You're encouraged to farm materials and do standard contracts to unlock and progress your factions. Once you do that, you'll be able to trade in barter items or pay for direct access to some of these more powerful build crafting items. This way, you're never too far from a previous build. I think
Do you understand what he's saying?
Yes.
So, the dudes that are going to go in and just ape everyone in PvP, they might do well for a little while. But as soon as they die, they're fucked. They're losing all their shit. This is what I was talking about. Like, I think Garrett asked in the Snapchat the one time, like, what is there to do? Like, the quests are massive. Like, you have to do them to upgrade your faction leader. And then here we're about to get to this other part.
This is the single most important answer, and they haven't talked about this nearly enough. I think a big barrier for entry for a lot of people into the extraction genre is the fact that you lose everything on loss. This also illustrates at least what part of the gameplay loop is. Obviously, progression matters because you want to get to a point where your failure point is softer, or that floor is a bit higher each time with your upgrades. So to me, that seems like the most important thing to focus on, because even if you were to focus on just looting even players for your builds, at some point that is going to run out. What will outlast that and what matters more is being able to get progression and unlocks or scavenging to gain access to some of those build components and purchase them more deterministically. I want to go a little bit more in depth on this topic, so I asked, is there any progression outside of lootable components that could affect your build? The answer given was that each faction has a set of upgrades that augment your runner, either through stat package
Charter,
increases
my
or through
beloved.
passive benefits, like reducing the amount it takes for your heat to dissipate. Factions also
Look
have
at that.
upgrades that
Quests will be
augment your
accessible through
armory,
the portal.
so you can gain upgrades that augment your runner.
What's up?
I said, and all quests will be accessible through the portal.
Oh, please tell me it's no. All the quests are through them, and like besides like the daily ones, all the quests are through them.
I hope so. Could you imagine if they put the portal in here?
Stop it. Charter, my beloved. We skin people alive.
Either through stat package increases or through passive benefits, like reducing the amount of
You
takes
see
for
that?
your heat to dissipate. Factions also have upgrades that augment your
Yes.
armory, so you can gain direct purchases to some of the higher tier versions of build crafting items like cores, implants, and weapon mods. Each of these upgrades lasts for the duration of the
Dude, it's gonna
season,
feel like
so you won't
Pledging
have
the
to worry
Dead
about
Orbit
losing them
with
when you
that
die.
stupid scout rifle.
Depending on the faction,
Well, I think it's.
Like, oh, I need this upgrade. Let me
mean,
pledge to so and so.
Right. I mean, we just basically did that this season.
Yeah.
I do think it's going to be beneficial to do multiple ones because they're all specialties and stuff. Like Gendry, the Mida faction leader. They deal with like explosives and stuff. So like he gives you sales on grenades and shit like that. You know what I mean? They each have like their own little thing. They also probably have different gold cores. Like it just depends on what you're looking for and what you're trying to run. Like me, I don't think I'm going to be hard stuck in one thing. I think my plan right now, fuck this gameplay, has actually kind of swayed me a little bit. I think I'm going to play Thief a lot. I'm probably going to play Assassin when I'm solo, just for the invis, if I'm not on Rook. And then as a team, I'd probably try, if no one else is doing it, I'd probably try to play like Triage or Recon. Because I think the meta is going to be Triage, a Thief, and probably either a Recon or a tank for teams.
You know me. Which do you think I should be of those three?
I'm not gonna lie, I don't know because Thief is like the one I didn't get to play, right? Triage is like healing on demand, but for teammates, not necessarily for himself. Then Recon is just like you know where everyone is. So I don't know. It depends. You're gonna have to play it and try it for yourself because there's a lot of different options. And then with their cores, I don't like. They've actually done a great job. Like they've talked about them, but like I don't think people understand. Like there's a lot of cores that we don't know about. They've only like highlighted like 9 of them, maybe at most.
Well, you said something about a tank too, right?
Yeah, it's this guy. It's this guy. He's you'll see him. He just has like a barricade. It's a Titan with a barricade and thrusters, and he has a rocket too. He has a rocket, like a rocket arm, as well.
Yeah, that sounds kind of hot.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you'll get to play him. I'm pretty sure he's the default character you have to use on the opening mission, so you'll get to at least experience him a little bit. I mean, we have a whole week. We can play whatever we want. I don't really. The only thing that's important about this week is to try to get to level 30. because level 30, you get a supply drop on launch. That's like supposed to be really good, and it'll help you clear out the opening missions, because like the missions won't carry over, but you get like the same early missions that to like unlock the factions, because like unlocking the factions and then leveling up through that is the quickest way to like get good shit, get sweet drip.
It's the true end game.
Mm-hmm.
Completing the entirety of the priority contracts or reaching VIP unlocks gold items for purchase in the armory. That really tells us what the extent of this is. You can really gain access to some powerful stuff by focusing on progression. If you had to ask me, I'm going to care far less about PvPing and far more about the progression and getting to the point where I can repurchase my stuff, where I can scavenge and make sure that I'm saving up along the way so that I can get to the point where I can just buy things, where I can have more deterministically available builds. And then I'm down to PvP after. It really seems like they're doing a lot to make it feel like you're making holistic progression throughout a season.
I have a 134 IQ. I make less money than friends who barely passed high school. Here's what I finally...
broke bitch.
And of course, gear fear is still going to be a thing, and you're still going to lose things. It's going to sting. But it stings less, I think, when you know you're making this kind of overall progression in other ways, whether it be to reacquire things, or, again, like they said, passive benefits, or stat upgrades. And since we didn't get to speak a lot about stats, I asked, what can be expected with runner shell stats? How much depth and impact do they have in build crafting decision making? Kevin said, runner shell stats are ways for you to differentiate builds or augment base capabilities that are missing with your core runner shell stat package. Each runner shell has a set of baseline stats that help reinforce its role. On Vandal, you'll see us push agility, so you feel faster and more agile. On Recon, you'll see us push heat capacity more, so you can chase down targets that you lock down with your tracker drone. Runner stats are how you fine-tune the last 25% of your build, so you're constantly evaluating, what implants do I want? What upgrades should I take first? We hope that each stat feels impactful to the action game, where you're making choices based on your role or based on the situations you find yourself in consistently. If you fall off buildings often, improving fall damage stat is for you. If you're playing Destroyer, you generate a lot of heat, so maybe you want to invest heavily in heat capacity. We hope you find interesting combinations, picking and choosing what's right for you. Lastly, I could not forget about Rook. Rook is a runner, so where does Rook...
What'd you say?
He's like, if you fall off buildings, this one might be for you. Bro, who's falling off buildings here?
He knows who he's talking to. He's talking to the Destiny players. Come on now. Come on now.
Yeah, maybe the Warlocks.
Yeah. Plenty of Titans I've seen take fall damage. And honestly, it's funny that he says it in the same breath as talking about the Titan class. He knew his audience.
What does he mention? Crayons.
Mm-hmm. All right, here you go. Here's Rook. Here's a little bit more about Rook.
Is Rook a defined playstyle? Can Rook be built on? The answer I got was Rook is a way for you to enter a really low stakes run and just see what happens. We built Rook as a scavenger, so their entire kit reinforces that. They can hide from UESC through Signal Mask or slowly gain back health through recuperation. We really wanted you to feel like you're really scraping by and that you're just there to pick at the remains of a run. Rook can be built upon, though, through faction upgrades, which can change their starting loadout to give you a bit more of an edge in a run. That's really interesting. Again, the fact that Rook can be built on and tying that back into the progression is really important here. I think progression is a bigger thing than people realize in this game. It's going to be a big motivation for the gameplay loop, and it's also going to give you a huge edge in terms of being able to play more efficiently. So that's really, really cool. Anyways, that does it for the interview. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we're going to be doing a lot more marathon videos. I'm super excited. Take it easy.
Meet the